Right, I guess we are coming to the end of a wonderful day, and I've been so blessed, and it's a privilege to be here with you. Um, Closing in on raising godly children in a digital world. Um, Bit of background, I'm a teacher for over 20 years. I've been always in charge of computing and ICT. And I've done a lot of work with parents and children around keeping safe on the internet. As well as that, I have using the technology, especially since the lockdown, to create children's program for Adventist Radio London. So for the past 3 years, we have been producing a children's program every Saturday on Adventist Radio London. Children producing and presenting programs. So that, as well as being an author of a maths book, do a lot of blogs, and on my website write a lot of resources for parents and children. So that's my background really. But I just love technology and I use it everywhere I go. So at the moment I'm recording this and I will share it with you and with Conchita. And the presentation will be shared, and I have some material that I'll give to you at the end. One of the project or thing from my technology use is my daughter, who is my IT person. She's taking my photograph and doing my Instagram and Facebook and everything page. She has been doing that and has been hosting. She's one of the hosts for the radio program on Adventist Radio London. So that's what technology have brought into my world. She's a digital baby, and my wife, who is here to support me. Michelle, give us a wave. They always mistake. And that's what we just talk about, the imbalance, but we have to balance each other. So to cover this, there are 4 things I want to focus on. The aim of this presentation is the impact of technology on children. And I've seen it over the years. As I said, for over 20 years I've been looking at this. And I have been saying it ever since. The job that the children now who are born, these children here, are going to do in the next 10, 15, 20 years is not yet invented. So bear that in mind. I want to equip you with some things that you might know or might not know to help you support your children with technology, and how we can build a stronger relationship with technology so we can support our children, and then how we can protect ourselves and our children and our families with technology. So some questions that the brief that I got is, what should parents know about technology? And what do you know about technology? How can you help children to interact with social media, with technology on a healthy basis? And the impact of that in terms of the time children spend with technology, and how can we balance that with family time, with our time with our children, to make sure that technology is being used, but we are balancing that with time, and how to leverage new technology. Everything is changing. There's a change in technology, and if you know the latest thing that is out on the news, how are we going to cope with that as a church, as a family, as parents? So I have some pictures here, and I don't know if you can see, it's not very clear, but the technology that your children use, or what are these technology? Are you familiar with any of these or don't know any of those? I know Netflix, you know Netflix? Yeah, YouTube, Google, Fortnite, yep, Twitch, Roblox, nope, Lego, Spotify, Instagram, yep. Lego is technology, yep. Right? So these are some technology that we have out there, and it says the online world can be exciting and inspiring, and I know that has been for me. It has brought me into this world. If it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't be here. I mean, presently here now, because Conchita wouldn't ask me to come and present to you. But I've presented for her talking about this before in another church, so that's it there. it is important to manage and minimize the associated risks. And we want to just look at this graph that shows the age of which children own a mobile phone. So at age 3, it's 20% of children owning a mobile phone. By age 10, it goes up to 70% of children will own a mobile phone. And by the time they get to 15, 16, almost all children will have a mobile device. Now, I remember when I bought my first mobile phone, it was a big brick that I had. And I usually say to children, when I used to go study and we go to the library, we didn't have computers and so forth. You go to the library, and if you find a book, those people are so cheap, they don't have time to spend and read it. You know what they do? Take out that page. So if you go to the library, you go for a book and you want something, the page is not there. That's how you have to learn, and you have to. I send in all my reports. In fact, my wife helped me write a whole thing because my handwriting wasn't good, and she wrote up my writing, and you had to Tipex. If you make a mistake, you have to write it over again. That's my world. But nowadays, we don't use that anymore. Technology is there. So everybody, coming to that, everybody is using technology. So what do we do, and how do we make sure that we are helping children and helping ourselves? This graph tells you how children access the internet. Tablet, 74% of children access the internet on a tablet. Or on the mobile, the laptop is 67%. Then you have other gadgets that they play with. They have the PlayStation and the Nintendo and all those Game Boys. They can access the internet through that. On the smart speakers, Alexa, anybody know about those? Can access the internet and ask Alexa to do anything. And then you have a desktop computer, which is 51% of children will access the internet through that. These statistics are from the recent Ofcom report, which came out in March this year. So children activities that they do online, playing with toys, only about 23%.
The previous slide.
Yes.
I didn't see a phone. I would have assumed that most children would access the internet on the phone.
So, no, this is 5 to 18. This is what the data is saying. They didn't have the mobile phone there because some mobile phones don't have if they don't have the data. But this is how children were accessing tablet, laptops, game console, speakers, and yeah, it's interesting that they weren't accessing that from that data. This is just taken from the report. I'm just showing that. This was the activities undertaken. So just looking at this, playing with toys, 25%, eating or drinking, 59%, homework, reading while they were doing while they were using the internet. That's what they were doing. So you see children are multitasking. They're playing with a toy, but they're using the technology. They're eating, but they're on the phone. They're watching, they're doing the homework, but they have their mobile devices working. They're on the console, they're doing all of those things. Now, this is an interesting one. TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat. And the graph shows you the percentage. So that was 89% using it last year compared to 2021 compared to 2022, which was 88%, down to 34% this year and 40% 2021 to 2022. Which one do you think would be the highest? And which one do you think is the lowest? Use. TikTok? Yes, yes. TikTok? TikTok and Instagram, and then YouTube? WhatsApp? Okay. This is it. YouTube was 88%, the highest. That's children are using. WhatsApp was second. TikTok was third. Facebook, you can, those of us who are still using Facebook, we are behind. That is old technology. Children, I know the children I work with, you they'll say, what's that? They don't use Facebook anymore. They're more looking at TikTok and YouTube and WhatsApp. That's how they communicate. Online gaming. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I had a conversation with some children, and this was the biggest thing, the big change since the pandemic. Most children are doing online games. A lot of children are now playing online games with others who they don't. 55% play with someone they don't know.
Across the world.
They are chatting, 47%.
When you say they don't know, what do you mean? So, because do they? What do you mean when they don't know? 'Cause
Just add them as friend. Because online games, you can add anybody as a friend, or anybody can add you. So they will add anybody. 55% are adding people to their games that they don't know.
as in, I've never met this person.
Never met
I
it.
don't know where they are.
No,
I have no idea who they are.
no idea.
I'm just gonna play a game.
Yep. And it gets even worrying. 47% of those children are now talking with people they don't know online. Yep. Texting in the chat, because most of these games will open up chats for you to have communication with. So they are talking with people online they don't know.
Forgive my ignorance. Wait.
Yep.
You're saying to me that the children will play a game with somebody like me. They've never met me before at all.
Yep.
Right? And then we'll then go on to have a conversation. I still haven't met them. The
Yep.
only interaction that I've had is on the game.
Yep. So that's where we are, and this is what technology is being used. And that's why, as parents, we need to be aware of these, but also be able to know how to deal with these situations. 25% play against someone they don't know, and 22% really don't have a clue as to who they're chatting with. They just chat. And a lot of the children have said that they have had inappropriate comment being made to them, have requests being made to them online. They might not tell you, but this is happening. And these are children I'm speaking to in a primary school.
Primary school.
Yes. Yeah. This is primary school. Right? So this was just giving a context into terms of two in 5 parents do not feel confident enough to talk up to their children about technology. 2 in 5, that's 40%. 3 in 5 parents allowed increased screen time for their kids. So 60% of parents are allowing children to watch a lot more technology and use technology more, sometimes to babysit. 80% are looking for well-being and mindfulness content online, because it's all about the mind and well-being. So now children are looking online, and you know the danger of looking online for things that they don't know. Who is to verify this? And who is giving this information? This one device is used for games. We talk about those. The smartwatch, playing games on those. The headsets, virtual reality. You have smart TV. Almost every TV now is smart. So you can access the internet through the smart TV. Computers, tablets, mobile phones, and game console to play any game. Bearing in mind, I said earlier that gaming is one of the biggest things online. So anything you're playing, open up the world to children to speak to anyone. And the biggest thing that is now out there, and I was thinking about it recently, that AI has been around for a long time. When you were typing your Word document and auto spell check, those sort of items, that's AI. But now it's up a level where the teachers are now saying, head teachers are now saying, what do we do with AI? Because children now going to school, all they have to do, go into chat, hi, AI, work is done. You can go through education using technology. I mean, I did a course without leaving my house. did everything from my computer. But now it's even more than that. You just type it in, it does all the work for you, you get a certificate, you get your qualification, but then you go to the job, can you do that? So AI is the big thing. Have any of us used AI before? Yep, yep. You know what AI is? Who can explain what AI is?
I'll try.
Go ahead.
So, like artificial intelligence, so it's, I suppose, technology that allows allows computers to draw from all, like literally scrape the internet for all the answers, for any answers to your questions, and then with like using normal language as we speak, it understands what you say and then reproduces the answers that you've asked for in a way that is easily digestible for us. That's one aspect.
Yep.
And then there's, you mentioned, the spell check, the stuff that we see on Google, with a lot of our forms, our your mortgage form, all the applications that you do, job applications, a heap of those are managed and done through AI. So yeah, that's one aspect of it.
And AI now, recently they are talking about AI being able to phone you and said, hi, said to my wife, hon, can you put £200 to my account because I need that. Sounding like you calling from your mobile phone and asking you to do that, because AI can replicate someone. Once you have all the details, the sound, whatever, can replicate your sound as well. So AI is now a big thing, and I think one of the top guys from Google recently have resigned because he said what he has seen he's afraid of, so he's stepping back because AI has no control. Now, the good thing with AI is that I usually use this analogy. I've given you all this information, but I want to use this, and I've used this with children, I'm using this with you. I have a glass of water and a knife. Now, we have water in our house, right? We have knives in our house, sharp knives. And our children have grown up in the house with knives and with water. Now, if a glass of water can drown you, can't it? And a knife can kill you. But they have survived. And it's good. It's useful to have water because water is life. We drink water, we use it to wash, we do all those lovely things. That's the same thing with technology. It's a good thing. It's how do we use it. And the quote says here, technology alone isn't the culprit. How we let it affect our family is our responsibility. Technology is a tool, and in order to discover the morality of any tool, we must look to the hands that hold it. It's time to stop blaming technology for our own bad behavior. That's a quote from Kirsten O'Neill. So we're not blaming technology, it's how do we use it. And in terms of how do we approach the use of technology, I want to bear in mind Proverbs 4:23 that says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And in Proverbs 14:26 it says, in the fear of the Lord is a strong confidence, and his children shall have a place of refuge. So we need to make sure we are getting ourselves upskilled, understanding the technology, and use it to the best, showing how it can be used positively. As I said, I have been using technology with, I have a group of 10 or 15 children that produces these radio programs. And through the lockdown, I had children from Africa, from the Caribbean, from the US, all over providing content. Now, our content, Bricks Kids, we were Bricks Kids before UCY, is on Miss Brenda's channel in the USA, so children can use that and can see themselves. So we have lots of programs pushing out. So it's using technology to show that, yes, there are dangers, but we have to make sure we are informed and how we can use these for better. So what are the risks of technology or children using it? One is the conduct, about how do children conduct themselves online behavior and how they share. So children tend to think that if we don't inform children, whatever you put online is always going to be there for life. Just remember that. You can't delete a picture or anything that you put online. Even if you delete it from your account, it's always out there in the world. And a lot of people have lost jobs or have gone lose position because of the technology. They have posted something which was 10 years ago, which was intended for someone, but 20 years on, it's now become something that is outlawed or something that is a problem. So it will reach people who you are not intended for. You can't be anonymous because you can be traced by digital means. Keeping personal information is very important. How do you conduct yourself in terms of what you put online? So it's a conduct side that we have the risk of how children use it the wrong way and their behavior online, but it's also the content that children see online. A lot of children will see things online, and it's about how do they deal with these things. Because with AI, with technology, you just need to make a click here and you get to a whole world of something you don't want to see. What do you do? When your children see this, what should they do? How are they going to cope with that? And how do we engage with our children to make sure that they can come to us as parents and say, I've seen this, makes me feel uncomfortable, what do I do about it? They should know what to do about it. And it's a contact, as we mentioned. Children talking to others without knowing who they're talking to. I can pretend to be a girl. I can pretend to be 14. I can make an account saying I'm at this school or at that school, at your school. I can do so many things online. So how do I know who I'm talking to? And not only that, how do I know the information that I read online is true? How can I be sure, and how can children check their work online? So who are your friends online? I've seen this picture that says, if I stand up with a sign, can you be my friend? You would say no, because I'm in person. But if somebody send you that online and you press yes because you want the number of likes and you want the number of friendships and you want your stats to go up, you click on yes. So all of those things is about helping children to understand those risks. And seeing sexting and nudes that are there. That's a big thing where children are asked to send inappropriate pictures of themselves or sending inappropriate pictures of themselves to someone who they think they can trust, or innocently sharing with a friend. And a friend can always share that on. So it's about how do children understand that they can't just share things because whatever they share is out of your control. So those are some of the risks: the conduct, the content, and the contact. And I always say, how do we help our children? And I say use the D6 principle. Anybody know what that principle is? Deuteronomy 6. Verse 7 says, and thou shalt teach them diligently to thy children. Thou shalt talk to them. Thou shalt talk to them. Talk with them. When you sit down, when you are walking about, when you're driving, wherever you go, talk to your children. Well, one of the biggest things I always say to parents is make sure you talk to your children about technology. And some advice to help you with this. In fact, when I was preparing for this presentation, the best expert I could speak to was my daughter. And I said, we were having dinner, and I said, I'm going to make this presentation. Help me to say what are some of the things that I need to bear in mind. She's there, and I wrote these down. And the first one was have conversation. It's good that you have restriction to what we can get. She accepts that it's good for her to have restriction to all the apps that we get. Password, we share. She knows I know her password. There's no secret about what she has on her phone. Um, Limiting time on the phone, joining in what she's doing. So sometimes she's doing something and she asks us to do some movement. She's making something, but we're joining in. I mean, now she has my phone. She's teaching me how to do. I think I know technology. I've been doing this for 20 years. I go to her because she knows more than me in terms of how to do this. But Daddy, just do this. And hold on, teach me how to do it. Have those conversations there. And then she gave me a whole lot of information which I would cover here. But talk to your children. They are the best one to do that. So in terms of grooming, discuss with them about how can somebody, I know they do this in school, but what is grooming? And how do you know when somebody's trying to groom you? And what do you know what grooming is, by the way? Understand what grooming? Yeah, we all understand where with somebody trying to be nice to you and treat you. I know in London, they call this a chicken shop grooming, where you have somebody who will start by buying your chicken in the chicken shop after school, and then after that they ask you to drop this parcel off for somebody, and they give you £50, and then before you know it, you're getting new trainers, and they're trying to build you up because you're getting nice things, and eventually you're now owned by them. Avoid sharing with strangers. Make sure we're telling our children not to share with strangers. In terms of bullying, any evidence that you get, and this was one of the things when I spoke to some children recently, they know how to report things, but they weren't confident in doing that. So things like saving the evidence. If you get a text message, how do you do that? Screenshot. Take a picture of it. Make sure it's there. How do you block somebody who is, you're playing a game? What do you do to block them? Every social media, every one of those gaming sites will have a block or report button. They need to be aware of that. Making sure they know that it's difficult to get back anything that they post online. And key thing is not to be judgmental. Be non-judgmental. So if your child come and say, I've seen this, or somebody asked me to do this, or I sent this picture. We talked about that earlier on in the upstairs. The reaction you give will tell a child that they can't speak to you again. So if a child come to me and said, this person have a picture of me on the nude, I'm like, what? Why you? What? She's not gonna ever come back to me again. But we take some time, discuss it calmly, and it's not easy, but you need to make sure that we are reassuring them. That's okay, we'll work on this, reassure them, and report anything. And I'll leave some information in terms of how you can report these. So keep up to date. Keep up to date, and I have some materials that will help you to keep up to date. There is I have some flyers here that I have from the National Online Safety website that I've just printed a few, but they produce these every week, and you can go and have all of these to read. And Vodafone produces a booklet that you can get online. I printed some, but you can get these online. Every year they send these out to keep you up to date as to how you can keep yourself protected and your children, and I'll give these with you. Have open and honest conversation. There's a website there, ChildNet, that provide you with lots of useful starters to have a conversation about internet. Plan computer time. Don't let your children be on the computer all the time. It's tempting sometimes when you're busy to leave them with an iPad, to leave them in front of the television, but you need to plan that. And they will moan. They will want 15 minutes extra time, but you need to stick to the plan of computer time. And making sure that computers are not in the bedroom. My child would not go to bed with her phone in her room. I bought an alarm clock. It's in her room to wake her up, not the phone. When she goes, phone is left downstairs, left out of sight. So making sure that there's no television in your room because they don't need anything. Bedroom is for sleeping. And you have to set that example too. Um, establish boundaries. Making sure you talk about the expectation, what you expect from your children, what you expect from, and be an example of that. We talk about room free of gadget, and I call this iDinner time. iDinner, I'm trying to use technology, iPhone, iDinner. So as much as possible, when you're eating, when you're having family time, phone is put away. You're not having eating and going as much as possible. Use filtering software. There's a website there that, and the picture is at the bottom here, this picture, that helps you to know how to filter your software, whether it is your Sky or your BT or your Vodafone, whatever software you use in a mobile phone or internet service provider, they will help you to set up that on your system. Learn how to report and block or mute things that you don't want to see. AI again will, if you ever search for something on Google or on Amazon and you notice after a while your emails coming up with those, that's AI. They start sending these things to you. Don't just delete those emails, unsubscribe. When you unsubscribe, you'll stop getting those emails. If you delete it, it will always be coming back. And then they will send more down your path. So make sure you know how to block, report, mute. Again, as mentioned, is get involved with your child's online life. See what they're doing online, talk about it, help them discuss what they're doing online, share with you, do it together. And it's all about having that time together. If they're doing emails, I mean, really just today, Janelle was setting up something online, and she shared my email address and my phone number because that's where the information is going to come to me. So you have a shared email address for any new game or services that they're going to do. That means you are aware of what is happening. Encourage them to think before they post. Think before they post, because once it goes online, it's out of your control. Lead by example. Parents, lead by example. I'm not saying I'm the best example because my daughter always says, you're always on your phone, because I work a lot online and I'm always doing something on the phone, but I have to think when it's time for dinner, when I'm speaking to you, I have to put away the phone, I have to do that. Lead by example. There's never TV in my bedroom because we're leading by example. Share coping strategies. So what happens if they see something online that is disturbing? So you have to tell your child what to do. How do you cope with this? So, okay, first you're going to save the evidence. You're going to speak to me. Then we can report it here and look at what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen. You have a strategy so they can be aware of how to deal with that. There's a website, asksaboutgames.com, that any game that they're playing, you can get information. It tells you the age limit. It tells you all about the games before they start using it. So you can always go to that website. And there's also a website called commonsensemedia.org that you can get lots of helpful information about anything that you think, these are not making sense, or you think is just silly, but you can access it there. So you can go to those websites. Every technology will have somewhere where you can report, and these are some examples. Facebook will ask you a few questions why you want to report something. Instagram will do the same. YouTube, all of those will have a report button. So make sure they are aware of how to report and block things. And if there's the IWF.org, which is the Internet Watch Foundation, report any sexual abuse on that website, and they will deal with it. And there's also the CEOP, which is a police website for any child exploitation. For that, you can report anything that you think of. suspecting of grooming, sexual inappropriate things happening online, you can always go to that website. And any harmful content that you haven't had proper, if your child or you have blocked something and you're still getting it happening, you can go to the reportharmfulcontent.com website. They will investigate further and get proper outcome for that to happen. When you're having conversation with your children, make sure you start in a positive note. Never go blaming, it's because of you, you should be, you should not be. No. Question like, what do you like most about the internet and why? Start from there. The internet offers brilliant opportunities, so why do you like keeping in touch and who do you like keeping in touch with? Talk about the positive things of the internet, and then you can move on to keep on that conversation happening. Do you have any tips? Like I've asked my daughter, give me some tips of what I need to know. Have those conversations at all times, and I can't stress how much conversation with your children is. Not just about online, but in everything. Conversation, 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 online or offline. Those conversation is very important. These are the materials that I have printed for you that I said online. There's a lot more. Social media and mental health, screen addiction, online content, all of that I've printed for you to have, but if you go to the website, you can always sign up and you get your own information sent to you every week, because it's about keeping updated as to what is happening with technology and how we can make the best use of it and protect ourselves. Now, just a whistle stop, and I just want to, if you have any questions anything that you weren't clear on, I know I've gone through very quickly because of time, but I want to make sure that any questions you have now can answer or we can share. Anything that you are doing that has helped you or anything that you think you would need help with, feel free to do so.
Where does technology come from?
Where does technology come from? Technology has always been around and it's increased over the period of time. First, imagine if you were less than 20 years ago, iPad wasn't around. The first computer was, I can't remember how long that was now. But, is? You're saying? Yeah, but it's increasing, and we use it. If you imagine going to the doctor, making a phone call, or using having a refrigerator or your boiler at home, all of those things use technology. It's just been over time, man have become more knowledgeable and is using that. So it's there. I can't say how when it started.
Do you think God wants us to do this?
Do we think God wants us to do this? To use technology?
Mobiles instead of the Bible. The mobile has taken over the Bible.
The Bible is mobile.
No, mobile has taken over the Bible.
We use technology to print the Bible, don't we?
You know what I mean?
And the missionaries use technology to move around.
Yep. Sorry, I see a hand there and then I come to you. You're going to say?
I just said technology isn't bad because I believe that you ask where it comes from the earth. Think about that.
Yeah.
I just want to build on this point, right? Technology, I want to build on this point. Technology essentially is an aid. It's just a tool, as you said at the beginning. So the knife is a technology. When we first started using anything to make our lives a little bit better, we were using technology.
Yep.
Right? So all we're saying is that it's just a development of the tools that we've always used. That is, you could argue that God endowed us with the knowledge to create these tools. So from a broad spectrum, that's what technology is.
As I said, we can't blame technology for anything. It's how we use it. You were saying?
I just wanted to know whether or not you or anybody else has a ministry that considers informing parents of young children how to put controls on whatever platform that they're using. You know, there are always parental controls, but I found that parents don't have a clue in terms of how to activate those. And it seems to me that, you know, given where we are with technology as you presented, it's quite a gap. Perhaps it's one for the Director of Education. There is a gap, I think, that needs to be plugged from amongst local churches. So it can't just be a special day here or a special day there. There needs to be something more systematic in terms of getting around to the churches and, you know, getting in front of parents and actually practically showing them how to put the controls on Netflix, you know, if you're going to have Netflix, how to deal with the Instagrams, etc. I think there's a gap that needs to be plugged.
I used to be an IT teacher.
Right.
And I used to deliver that course. So there used to be a course around.
We do it.
For the local churches?
What? No.
Not for.
Local churches.
I think what I find is that every year I do workshop around internet safety for teachers, for children, and for parents. Whenever I try to do a parental one, 2 or 3 parents turn up. Never turn, because once they hear that, they think they know it all, or they don't have the time, and they don't take it as serious as they need to. And there's a need for that, but how do we get that message? I mean, it's great that you're here.
What's more important? What is given what they can access? You know, there hasn't been a more dangerous device in the hands of children and young people than the smartphone in the history of the world. So what could be more important than setting up something like this that can help to safeguard children? You know, as the government says, safeguarding a child is everybody's business.
Yep. I think as a church we definitely need to do more on this, and as you're right to say, it can't be a one-off, it must be I think what parents need is the practical. Making presentation like this is good, and I'll send this presentation, you'll get it, but do you know how to do it? Because some parents, some adults don't even know how to get onto the computer properly. What is URL? You know, how do you access it from the paper I give you, from writing it down to what you do? So there's a need for that, but no, I don't have a ministry in terms of that, but I do send information out. Yet. Okay, you're seeing the future. Okay.
The Bible says that, you know, God is judging his church. You know, he's judging us for what we do for our children.
So we can't hear. What was that, sorry?
You say, repeat it. The Bible is saying? God is saying?
He's judging his church.
For what we do for our children. So it's about,
you, individually, parents, how we brought up our children. You know, we've brought them up on the mobile, and this is what's happened now. This is what's happening now.
Yep.
Satan controls the mind.
And you're right about that. So what I'll say is that we need to make sure we are informing ourselves and keeping up to date, and that's why I'm giving you these. It's a handout, the booklet, and my card here where you can go to my website to see some of the work that you have done, and you can get in touch with me if you have any ideas of how we can minister together to do that ministry. That would be good.
I'll advertise you anyway.
Right. Right.